Hello, my dears, sisters, goddesses. Today, 24th of January, we have another guest for our series Time of the Feminine, and her name is Emmi Mutale, and she's connecting with us from Lusaka in Zambia, so on another continent, because I'm in Oslo, in Europe, and she is in Africa. Hello, Emmi. Thank you for accepting this invitation.
Hi, Irina. It's lovely to be here.
Thank you so much. We had a very interesting experience just 2 minutes ago, but maybe I speak about it later because I still need to recover. It was a small miracle. My throat was really with a problem in speaking and very rough. And she was, she's a healer. So she worked on this with me, and now I'm good. Very nice. Thank you again for the small miracle.
Welcome.
So Emmi, as I said, is a healer because not only because she did this, but we already met in a retreat last year, and she was one of the facilitators of the retreat in Belgium, a retreat with a group of 13 women. And for me, it was magical and a very good and deep work. Oops, sorry, I need to put the battery. Just 1 second. I forgot to put the battery to the computer. I come back.
No problem.
Yeah, I was saying also to her that this week was a little bit erratic and many things happened, and I'm a little bit tired and somehow not well focused, but at least my voice is back and we can do the interview. Sorry for this small interruption. So I said that we met in a retreat, and it was an amazing experience for me and for other women present there. And I know you're also organizing other retreats in the future, both in Belgium and other countries. But coming back to you as a woman, you told me that you consider yourself a keeper of sacred wisdom, and that you work for the raising of the feminine and for empowering other women, which is, in my opinion, a very important work and really necessary in these times that we live now today. So I would like that you address a few minutes to our sisters in the group, and maybe further on. Hello, Emmi? Sorry, she lost the connection. I need to text her. Oh, yeah. I was going to text you now because we lost a little bit the connection for some reason.
What an interesting morning.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff happening.
But you know, there are many energies lately.
Yeah.
Even the week before, it was a very heavy download of energies. And as I'm in Norway, here I received them really like a lot, like a shower. So if you want to spend a few minutes speaking about you, who you are, what you are doing, what do you think about the feminine and different aspects, I will interrupt you if you get very long, but around
Yes,
5 minutes. Try to stick to these 5 minutes if you can.
Okay.
Yeah, a free sharing from yourself, from your soul, from your heart.
Okay, thank you, Irina. So I think ever since I was a child, quite a small child, I've been drawn to the healing arts. And I've always had a very strong pull towards shamanism and the ways of life of indigenous cultures. I'm not from an indigenous culture myself, but there's always been that very, very strong pull. And although I built my career, so to speak, in a different field, I went into international aid or development aid, working predominantly on women's rights and child rights, human rights overall, working with rural communities in Africa and elsewhere. I have always had a passion for healing arts on the side. And already in my in my teenage years, I was getting into breath work and meditation and started learning shiatsu when I was in my early 20s. And it's probably in the past 10 years, maybe a bit longer, that the healing work has become more than just something that I do on the side next to my proper career. And over the past year or two, I have decided to take a leap of faith and really fully, almost 100% really to start focusing on the healing work. And I have developed my own program, which is all about supporting women let go of unhelpful beliefs and patterns, and to heal wounding that is often lifetimes of wounding in a woman. In various settings, one-on-one, in groups, and in retreats. You talked about the retreats already. And the idea with this work really is to support women to truly step into their full power, into their sacred feminine power, and to really shine their true radiance, that heart-centered, womb-centered true radiance that so many of us have learned to suppress, have learned to keep within for a very, very long time. So it's really about bringing out that feminine essence, that radiance, that feminine power in all of us. And at the same time, on a larger scale, starting to balance the masculine and the feminine energies, not just within ourselves. That is very, very important. But once you've done the work internally, you can start to then expand that work. And of course, as you heal yourself, you are also healing the past and you heal in the future. And you're making a difference for the women around you and for the men around you as well.
And for children also, for the future generations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're kind of stopping the buck. You're stopping those those limiting patterns and beliefs that otherwise could very easily become the limiting patterns and beliefs of your children. Exactly. Because it has been scientifically proven that we take on beliefs and energy from our parents, from our ancestors, from our past lives, and also from the collective experiences of women and men all around the world. And it really is about healing those patterns and those wounds, whilst at the same time finding the treasures, the blessings in those wounds as well, because they contain an enormous amount of healing potential for us as well. So for me, it's been a lifelong journey of exploration, of healing my own wounds, and then kind of expanding from that to help others to do the same.
Yes, and I think you are very good in what you're doing. You are very, very good. I already experienced healing sessions with you in the retreat, and even now, and I was like, wow, my voice is back, and I don't feel the same roughness. So I have this question for you now. Why is important? Do you think is important for women to form this deep connection with the feminine power?
You might have to stop me on this one because I could go on for a whole day.
Well, you have around 5 minutes if you can stick to this.
I'll try and squeeze it to that.
Summarize.
Yeah. Absolutely. So basically, for thousands and thousands of years, women have been made to believe that we don't have power or that we are less powerful than men. And in the patriarchal contexts, that means male-dominated or male-led contexts that we have, most of us have lived in, have been born into and have lived in, and our ancestors have been born into and lived in. There's been a very systematic way of suppressing women, silencing our voices, keeping us down, keeping us small, and making us believe that we truly are less than men. And you can pick 100 of different examples from the course of history. Just to give a couple of examples, just think about the versions of the Bible that we have available to us. A large population on this earth is Christian, and they believe in the Bibles that they read, which is perfectly fine. But we also have to remember that the Bibles that are available to us, there's many different versions to begin with, and I would say all of those versions, if not most of them, if not all of them, have been written by men from their specific male perspectives. And if you look at the experiences and stories of women within the Bible, they are tiny, they are minuscule. And in some cases, women are portrayed in the role of the evil. Look at the Adam and Eve story.
Exactly.
And it is just such a potent example of how history can be, well, manipulated is perhaps a strong word, but I'm going to use it anyway. History has been manipulated to show a one-sided story.
Exactly.
And in that story, the role of women has been downgraded and downplayed in many different ways. Another very concrete example would be from the ancient Egyptian times, the way statues of female pharaohs or female goddesses have been very systematically chopped up or desecrated. Their noses have been removed, their faces have been mutilated. And that, again, a lot of people don't think about it this way, but it is a very systematic way, again, of showing that men dominate, women don't have the power. And then you come into, for example, the witch hunts from the Middle Ages in Europe and elsewhere, which was, again, a very, very systematic way of making women know what their place is, that led to thousands of deaths and even more trauma collectively for humankind. So there is a massive paradigm shift taking place on the planet at the moment, where the male way of doing things is being questioned. And we're starting to understand collectively that although the male way is important, and there's a lot of good things about, you know, striving for results and putting into action things that you want and striving for, let's say, profit. There is a huge understanding that the feminine way, which is often, again, downplayed, of just being, of flowing, of connecting, of doing things together in a way that is different from the past, is really starting to rise up. And people are starting to understand the importance of balancing these two ways of being and these two ways of doing. And because our power has been suppressed and silenced for so long, this is now a time for us to start to reclaim that power, to start to remember who we truly are, and to remember our magnificence, and to remember where we came from, the beginning where we actually remembered and revered the Great Mother as the great goddess and as the birther of all things.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. The Great Mother. You spoke about revering, and I know that your website also has a title, The Revered Feminine, if I'm not wrong, right?
Feminine Revered.
The Feminine Revered. And
Yes.
so at the core of your activities and beliefs as active way shower of this divine feminine that you spoke about, you have this reverence for the feminine. So, and I'm curious to know how you, as a woman, revere yourself, or you revere the goddess. How do you do this?
Yeah. Well, for me, again, it has been a lifelong journey of really learning to love and accept myself as I am, and learning to work with, from my womb space. Our wombs are pretty magical places. They contain lifetimes of wisdom in them. They are portals into knowledge and healing. And once I learned to work with my womb space in a more conscious manner, I started to release layers and layers of wounding from myself as well. And it really has been, for me, a journey of releasing specific wounds that I call the 5 core feminine wounds, which relate to our relationships with our mothers, my relationship as a mother myself, to my children and to myself as a mother, my relationships with other women, which I call the sister wounds, my relationship to my body, and how I revere and look after my body. I have a lot to talk about, especially on that subject, because I've gone through such a challenging journey in terms of loving and accepting myself in my body. And it's all about learning to appreciate and live with and appreciate, revere my cycles, my menstrual cycle. Our cycles are extremely powerful, extremely magical as well, and our menstrual blood contains a lot of healing properties. And learning to appreciate that and really connecting with my cycles has been a big part of that as well. And as I said, that connection with the womb space and really learning to work with the magic of the womb space. In relation to the goddess, that's been a gradual process, because when I was in my teenage years, I rebelled quite strongly against the Christian values that I had been brought up in. Not very strongly, I didn't have to go to church or anything like that, but nevertheless, it was the Christian ethic that kind of surrounded the context where I was born and lived. And at that point, I kind of threw away the notion of God, I threw away the notion of angels, I threw away the notion of Jesus and all of this. And it was only over the years that I started to understand the more deeper spiritual meaning and context around angels, for example, or around Jesus and his amazing relationship with Mary Magdalene and his mother, Mother Mary, and really started to connect with them, not as Christian or religious beings, but as spiritual beings with enormous wisdom and support and guidance for us. So it was really around that time also that I started working more closely with the concept of the goddess and started to learn about the different goddesses around the world and really started making a lot of connections with my love and interest for shamanism and how people can lead a very goddess-centered life, nature-centered life, earth-centered life, and how you can form a very deep spiritual bond with goddesses, that they are not something that is out there, far away, who will come and punish you if you do something wrong, but these are benevolent beings who are there to support you and to love you and to be with you.
Yes, this is all true. And Mary Magdalene is coming back together with Jesus to teach us something very precious, that is the sacred union and the harmony, the balance between masculine and feminine, and their work together. I know you have children. You have 2 children, right?
Yes,
Yes,
I
and
do,
you have a
yes.
daughter. You have a daughter also.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do, yeah. My younger child is a daughter.
Yeah, how old is she?
She's now 12. Just
12.
turned 12 this month.
So she will soon start her puberty if she didn't start yet.
I think she's kind of started already. She hasn't started bleeding yet, but I think she's very close to that now as well.
Yeah. So what are you going to teach her when in this threshold moment where she was going to become a woman, actually, right? Soon, probably. What are you going to teach her about her womb and the connection with the goddess?
Yeah. Well, what I'm trying to do with her, because she's kind of in that stage where she doesn't really want to listen to this kind of stuff. So what I'm trying to do is just drop little hints here and there.
Yeah.
And when I have a moment of bonding, I will always bring in the notions of the sacredness of her body and how she can expect to start bleeding soon, and how her cycles are really very, very powerful and magical, and how they connect her to the moon, how they connect her to the cycles of nature, the cycles of life and death. I try to keep it very simple with her, but you know, just kind of planting seeds. I know I can't force anything to her right now. She will just distance herself from all of this if I do that. So it's really just, you know, dropping little seeds here and there, and really just reminding her how sacred her body is. And no matter what anybody says to her about her body or anything about her overall, it doesn't define her. That her true being is deep inside, her true essence is deep inside, and nobody can take that away from her.
Yes, beautiful. I don't have a daughter, but probably I would do the same if I would. I only have a son, and actually is a little bit complicated for me, because as a mother I would have to think when he will arrive at that age what I should tell him about being a man. But by then I hope I consolidate also my masculine side more to know more about it. And yeah, who knows, maybe I will also get another relationship where I can actually be more fulfilled than I was before. Speaking about relationships, I know you are married. And you are married with a man with from a different culture and continent than you, right?
Yes, yes, I am.
So from this perspective, because practically your marriage is a meeting of cultures, of races, of genes, of inheritance from ancestors, as you said, that is very important. From this perspective, how do you live this, or what were the teachings for you in the marriage to experience this masculine and feminine in harmony, and achieving maybe this sacred union that we are speaking between Jesus and Mary Magdalene? Do you feel that you are on this path, or that you already have this kind of marriage or relationship with your husband, or there were some challenges about this before, of the differences that you had to bring together?
I think we're definitely on the journey on that one still. I think one of the challenges that I keep on feeling more and more strongly in our relationship is that we experience life in a very different way, and we experience spirituality in a very different way. And for him, a lot of the work that I do around shamanism, for example, is quite scary. And it's something that he doesn't really want to connect with. So there are a lot of where we kind of are at loggerheads in terms of our spiritual belief systems and in terms of how we want to move forward as a couple. He hasn't done a lot of work in terms of the sacred union, whereas that is the direction I am going more and more strongly. So, you know, we are kind of in an evolving context at the moment. I'm thinking constantly who's going to be listening to this and what I can actually say at the moment, but I'm just going to speak from the heart.
Exactly.
I think just like the changes and the transformation that Mother Earth is going through at the moment, I think our relationship is in that kind of a stage at the moment. And we are, in a way, at a crossroads where we need to decide whether we want to stay together and pursue this concept of the sacred union together, or whether we have reached a point in our relationship where we both realize and understand that maybe it is time to look for something different. And maybe we will both be happier if we find our own ways. I love him tremendously. I will always love him. He's the father of my kids and he's a fantastic man. I think it's a question of whether our tolerance levels, and I say that with the utmost respect, tolerance for each other's differences and our love for each other is strong enough to carry us through this transformation process.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know that I was reading somewhere that I'm not sure if it's only this year, because this year is very strong. There are a lot of energies coming and a lot of purification that Mother Earth does. And we all saw what happened with Australia and other places, and volcanoes now erupting all over. And there will be more and more, because the earth is giving sign that she's alive, but she's somehow dispirited, and she needs to be seen and to be valued for what she gives to us and for all this connection. But I was reading about this, twin souls or soul mates or something like that. These concepts are not yet very clear to me. But this article said that this year is a year where either there is a reconciliation between men and women, very powerful in many couples on a broader level, in the society. But it's also a year when many soulmates come together, or soul twin flames, or whatever, like they really find each other after many journeys or many lives or whatever, if you want to believe in these kind of things. So yeah, you probably will have to understand how this works for you, but it's a journey, as you said. in my opinion, every relationship we have to appreciate and leave it to the best as long as it lasts. And when we
Yeah.
feel that we have to be apart, then we just thanks for the journey and we move on, because it's a learning process and an evolution. Nothing is static in our lives, and we actually
Yes.
are here on earth to learn. Everything is a
Yes.
learning, a laboratory. Family
Absolutely.
we grew up,
Yes.
the partners we choose, our children, society, and so
Mm,
on. Everything is a laboratory. Yeah, so I
absolutely.
wish you good luck. I hope you find a solution somehow that can fulfill both, and also a good solution also for your children.
Thank
Create
you.
much challenges on this level too. And I think I
Mm.
only have one question left, because I was trying to remember how many I asked already. And the plan is always I want to stick to do the same kind of interview, and the structure to preserve it for all the
Mm,
guests I have. And yeah, as this is somehow the year of the goddess raising, let's say, or of the feminine, that's why I actually entitled my this series of interviews "The Time of the Feminine," and I got very much inspired
mm,
from another documentary they made and put it online. That was "The Time of the Sixth Sun." That, by the way, was very interesting. It had 8 episodes, and two of them were interviewing, and two of them they were interviewing grandfathers and grandmothers from different places of the
mm.
world. So like those who carry this wisdom,
Yeah.
the wisdom keepers. And
Mm,
you said that I would go back to what we initially started to say about you, that you are a keeper
mm,
of sacred wisdom. What
mm,
exactly this means? What is a sacred wisdom in these times we live in now?
mm. Well, this concept or this coining of this way of describing myself came to me a couple of years ago at a very beautiful training that I did in relation to womb awakening. And I hadn't considered myself a wisdom keeper until then. Although, when I think back, a lot of the teachers, a number of the teachers that I've been working with, have been kind of telling me, you have eons of wisdom within you. You just need to tap into it. So that is when I kind of started to own that, because it is quite easy for me to tap into not just past lives, but past experiences overall. And the portal kind of just opens, and I'm able to listen to ancestors. I'm able to listen to guides and get understanding and knowledge from the collective experiences of especially women on this earth and beyond. And I'm really now starting to consolidate and stand strongly in my power as a wisdom keeper and use that role in a very sacred way. In other words, use that to spread information and awareness to people everywhere I go about the only way that we can really save our beautiful planet and live together in harmony, which is the wisdom that our ancestors, grandparents, have been wanting to tell us for years and years and years, which is really about understanding the sacredness of all life and really truly respecting Mother Earth as the giver of life, and really truly starting to revere the feminine again for her powers of being able to give birth, for being able to nurture life, and for being able to heal generations and generations of wounding. And that is the sacredness of that wisdom. It really is the key to living in harmony on this beautiful planet of ours that we truly have an honor to live on, that we truly have an honor to be part of for a short period of time in this lifetime. And
Yeah.
really, as you were talking about the learning and the lessons earlier, really working on ourselves to understand what are the lessons that we need to learn in this particular lifetime, so that we can step into our power, that we can truly evolve and become who we're meant to be in this particular lifetime. And that we can only understand if we go back in time and learn from our own life and soul experiences, learn from our ancestors, and learn from that collective experience that I've mentioned a few times. So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell what I'm trying to do with that
A lot of meaning and content, actually. It's a lot, and it's very important that you are able to share it with as many as possible, especially women, because many women don't, I mean, they are not even aware how much wisdom they have inside themselves and how much capability of self-healing our body has. So we give our power away, because you spoke about the power of the feminine. We give our power away to many things, many systems, the doctors, the psychologists, the psychiatrists, partners, gurus, and someone,
teachers,
figures like that. And then we lose ourselves in this searching for help, but actually not helping on the core, on the real cause of the trauma or the wound that we need to heal. Yes, I'm very happy that we could have this interview, and I think everything you said, it makes perfect sense, and I hope many other sisters will be able to hear what you said. And to conclude, I wish to make you a small gift. And I have this deck, the Medicine Women deck, which is very powerful, very beautiful, and is very much inspired from shamanism. And as you said that you practice shamanism, as I also do, I actually use the deck for sessions I sometimes do with women. And now I'm working mainly online, because I try to preserve, also to revere myself, preserving some energies, because I got used until last year to give a lot to people around me, and at a certain point I felt I don't have energy left for myself. So now I found this way, the online communication and the workshops, a better way for me to preserve and balance my private time, work time, family time, and so on. And I wish that I will take a card with a kind of maybe just an advice or an idea that can serve you this year, you and your work, I mean. So if you want just to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and focus on an intention that is very precious for you during this year, 2020. And I have a candle already here. It was lit at the beginning of the session. I will shuffle a little bit these cards, and then connecting with your energy and your intention. So you just focus a little bit on an intention that is important, precious, valuable for your path as a woman and as a healer. And then see what is the advice that you can get from this nice deck. So I will cut with my left hand, and then I will take the first card from the top. Beautiful. That is this one, Ace of Stone. Can you see it?
Stones.
Yes, so it's a lady climbing a ladder surrounded by ancestors' figures. And at the top, she will receive a kind of inspiration or some message from a crystal, very beautiful crystal, held by hands of God or something like that. And I can read you from the book the meaning of this, because I know already this card. It is a card that went out for another sister when I had a reading with her. What I can say is an ace is always very positive, and stones represent the earth, the connection with Mother Earth, because it's the earth element itself. So it's very much in tune with your what you spoke about Mother Earth, and is seed of prosperity. I will read for you.
Okay, thank you.
You have a prayer. Great Spirit, I accept your offering. I am thankful for these material gifts you place before me so abundantly. Mother Earth provides all that I need. The gifts of my ancestors lie within her arms. Your crystal of inspiration calls me to create from the wealth that surrounds me. And you have a lesson. The grandmothers and grandfathers have given their life and consciousness to Earth for us. This is why the mountains and plains are sacred. The native people are the land. Others died that we may live. The earth is alive with their consciousness. Earth has embodied every god and goddess who walked the planet. She has received into her body every prophet and savior, every Amazon and warrior, every seer and simple peasant. She is rich with resources. She says now, open your eyes and receive the gift of true understanding from which abundance comes. Prosperity is a form of right relationship to earth. Open yourself to becoming aware of the wealth of resources surrounding you. Life is everywhere at your command. And if you are currently experiencing lack or burden in the material realm, do the following. Look at your possessions. As you observe each one, ask yourself, do I feel thankful for this? Immediately get rid of everything for which you are not thankful. Pass it on to someone who will be glad to receive it or give it back to earth. Observe your feelings, how they changed. Do you still need something? If not, the problem is solved. If you still need something, visualize the thing you desire. Imagine yourself through the whole cycle of appreciating the earthly elements from which it is made, seeing it carefully created, receiving it gladly, giving something you value in return for it, using it fully and returning it to earth or passing it on. And relax. The seed has been planted and will grow. You have given it life. Beautiful. I'm so glad that you got this card because independently of the intention you set, it says a lot about what you have to do to have more prosperity and abundance. It's just to relax, trust, and tune with everything that you have around in Mother Earth that I'm pretty sure you already know how to do.
And it's so perfectly aligned with my intention as well. So thank you.
I'm really happy. Well, I also have some capabilities, not fully developed yet, but I'm working on it. Yeah, I like to do this work with the cards and the oracles and everything. It's very powerful also. So yes. Thank you again, Emmi. Very interesting interview. Maybe we will do it later again in this year or next year, because I'm not sure yet how long it will take this series. But as it's not something that I do professionally, I only can do maximum 3 times a month. Otherwise, I don't really have so much time. But I think it's an interesting idea to bring voices from our community of women that we already created online, and to show who they are as women, as healers, as artists, as many other qualities they have, and as a message, because we need this message. So thank you again. I hope to see you in another retreat, maybe next year, because this year I'm really full. I would have loved to join you again in Belgium, but it's not possible in terms of time and money. I don't have any more where to put other things. But we will, maybe, who knows, maybe in the future we can think to organize something here in Norway, because it will be interesting and very useful for sure. Yeah. So take care.
Yeah.
Now that you see it an intention, make sure you make it grow properly. And I wish all the best from my heart to you and to your family too.
Thank you. Thank you. You too, Irina. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.